everybody, and welcome back to another episode of What's the Word? Eagle Alumni Spotlight Podcast. I'm your host, Abby, and today we have an exciting episode with you. Today we are joined with Forrest Mobley, and Forrest, why don't you give us a little bit of background about yourself?
Sure. I graduated from Embry-Riddle in spring of 2020. From there, I went to grad school at the University of Tennessee 2 years and got my master's in aerospace engineering. From there, now I work with Boeing in their rotorcraft division, doing CFD for rotorcraft.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. And do you have a favorite memory from your time being at Embry-Riddle that you'd like to share with us?
Let's see here. Yeah, I've got a memory. I worked in Dr. Hayashibata's CFD lab. And I remember one day I was working on getting some CFD software running, and I was really new to it. This was like my first month that I was in there, I think. It kind of all blurs together, but I finally got the software working. And it was a very simple simulation, but it was my first one, and it was really exciting seeing that it was working and I'd finally made some progress.
Oh, I bet it was very exciting kind of to see it all come together and everything. Now, for people who aren't maybe engineers, what is the CFD lab?
The CFD lab is an area where students can get their hands on computational fluid dynamics, or CFD software, which is used to simulate fluid flow. So anything your heart desires when it comes to learning more about fluid flow, CFD is one of the best tools for that. Obviously we can use wind tunnels, but those are expensive and they take up time, whereas CFD is a lot more accessible. And that's one of the reasons why I guess it was easy for me to step into it.
Oh, okay. That sounds like a very interesting medium to work with.
Yeah, it definitely is.
And now, were you able to take any of that experience you gained working from the CFD lab at Embry-Riddle and take it into your current job?
Yes, it's what I do now. I am a CFD engineer with Boeing.
Oh, so that worked out really well, actually. And do you have a favorite part of your current job at Boeing that you'd like to share with us?
My favorite part of my current job. So my job is to kind of dig deep into the details when surprises come up when it comes to engineering rotorcraft. So I'm not really hands-on with actually making like decisions when it comes to an aircraft's design. But when something unexpected comes up in the performance of an aircraft, usually one of the best tools we have to dig into it is CFD. One, because it's relatively fast, and two, it's a lot safer than doing flight testing. So that's been really cool to dig into that, I guess.
Oh, I see. That sounds very intriguing. And I'm assuming a lot of numbers and math goes into doing something like that?
Yeah, but the computer does it. Really, it's the engineer's job is to understand the settings and what they do. So thankfully, I don't have to, perform integrals all day. That would be horrible.
Yeah, that does sound horrible. And now, switching over to writing, are you able to incorporate writing into your job a lot?
Yeah, I do a lot of writing. Most of it's just note taking. There's a lot of details. I can't remember everything. And when we kind of get to an end of a project, usually it's good to write up a memo, or usually something, an internal document that can be used for later reference by someone else.
Oh, okay, okay. And do you have a specific type of note taking that you do, such as Cornell notes, or do you kind of make your own kind of notes?
We use OneNote at Boeing, and there's some things I don't like about it, but one thing that I do like about it is it's very easy to collaborate with my fellow engineers. And I think if I had my own choice of note-taking style, I probably wouldn't use OneNote, just use like a Word document or something like that. But it works, and it's flexible enough that, we can get the job done. So I think I'm still figuring my notes out when it comes to work. They're still messy. I need to figure out a
Right.
template, but those things come with time.
Oh, right, right. Of course, everything has to be finely tuned with time and everything like that. Now, have you noticed any big differences or similarities between writing you've done at Embry-Riddle and writing you're doing in the workplace?
A lot of the writing I did in college was for like research. I wrote a few papers when I was in grad school, writing my thesis. Those are definitely different than the types of writing I do now, because now I need to be a lot more succinct. I need to be a lot short-winded, I guess, is a good way of putting it. We don't really have time to read, a 100-page document on one project. So it's better to get things compact it as much as possible.
Oh, okay. And are you able to incorporate pictures into the writing you do, or is it mostly just writing strictly?
Less pictures than I would have thought going into this job, but yeah, I do include pictures. It's a lot of just plots of, thrust and power and kind of where our values sit for a particular simulation versus, what we've seen in the past. We do a lot of comparison in that way. So it's less figures than I would have thought, but still
Right.
some.
Okay, I gotcha. That sounds like a good ratio you have going between pictures and wording and everything. And so that leads me right into my last question for you today, Forrest. Do you have any advice you'd like to give our current Eagles?
I would just say keep digging into new things that interest you. I never thought coming into Embry-Riddle that I would be where I am now. I originally wanted to get into rocketry and aerospace, but the opportunities that I was given just through pure chance really kind of guided me to where I am now, and it's where I want to be. So yeah, those opportunities, just keep your eyes open for them and take them. College is a great time to do that because you can always, if you don't like it, you can back out and go do something else. And if you do like it, you can really dig into it, especially at Embry-Riddle.
And that is great advice, especially for all of our current Eagles here at Embry-Riddle. Be sure to get into all those clubs and opportunities that Embry-Riddle has to offer. But now we'd like to give a big thank you to Forrest for being with us on our podcast today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And that wraps up this week's episode of What's the Word Eagle Alumni Spotlight Podcast. I'm your host, Abby, and be sure to stay tuned for more episodes to come.
This podcast is supported by the Department of Humanities and Communication at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Prescott, Arizona. Abigail Bradbury is our host, Matthew Haslam is our department chair, and I'm Amelia Chesley, Assistant Professor of Professional Writing. The intro and outro music is Wander by Alex. Find us on Spotify or on YouTube, and reach out if you are a Prescott campus alum. We'd love to feature you in a future episode.